Hi everyone, how are you doing? I feel like it's actually been ages since I've sat down with the camera, but it's really not been that long at all. So today's video, I'm quite excited because it has been pretty much exactly a year since I did this. We are doing the mid-year book challenge, or the mid-year book tag, mid-year freakout tag. I don't actually know what it's called. I believe it's the mid-year book freakout tag. Anyway, there is a set load of questions I'm going to be using, and just like last year, I'll be popping them in the description below. So if you fancy, feel free to answer them in the comments. I have my trusty iPad with all of my questions and my answers too. We will be going through all the books I have read this year, if they pertain to the question, and we shall also go through some of my anticipated reads, how I'm feeling, how I felt, that kind of thing. So, without further ado, we have the Kindle in case we need it, we have the iPad, we have this mess of a bookshelf. Let's get to it. Okay, so I'm gonna get comfy because this is gonna be a sit down chat with you and I'm quite excited. So, question number 1 is best book you've read in 2025. I really like this question. And it was kind of a secret, and it kind of is going to be a secret, but it's not a secret because I'm putting it in this video. It was absolutely fourth wing. I put off reading this for so long that when me and Megan finally got to it, I thought, I cannot believe this has actually sat on my shelf for nearly a year. Goodness knows when I bought it. I've even put a note in it. Reads and presented like an alternate Harry Potter universe. How could you not like it? It was actually incredible. I obviously rated this 5 stars. I don't believe it was the first 5-star of the year, but it was my first 5-star fantasy of the year, so that is something. I flew through it. For some reason, this was an incredibly daunting book for me, and yeah, no, didn't feel like it once I got into it. We're at 561 pages. Not bad. Absolutely love Fourth Wing. If you're like me and you're behind the bandwagon on these sorts of things, get up and get it because it is really good. Really good. Okay, question number 2 is, how many books have you read this year? Well, according to my Goodreads and my challenge this year, I have read 36 books. 36 books, everybody. I'm actually apparently 9 pages, that's a lie, 9 books ahead of my schedule. I read 36 out of 55. Now, I know last year that my goal was 80, and that was kind of a struggle. And I knew this year was going to be busy with like a new job, like just life and stuff. So I set myself an incredibly realistic goal. If I surpass it, great. If I don't, or I just reach it, great. So that's what I did. We have a goal of 55 books this year. I've read 36, so I just need 20 more to go. And if I've read 36 in half a year, and I've got 19 left to go, I think I can do it between now and December, you know? I think I'm okay. Question 3. Best sequel you've read so far this year? Now, this one was quite easy actually. I read Enchantra. Now I have a whole video about it. I'll pop it up on one of the cards here. This is sequel to Phantasma. And I actually can't remember what the series is called. The Wicked Games. The Wicked Games series. Now, Phantasma was incredible. Enchantra was great. It definitely was the best sequel I have read this year, but I don't think it's the best sequel I've ever read. But it's the best sequel I've read this year, so that's why it's on this list, because I actually haven't read a lot of sequel this year, purely because I am trying not to start new series until I've finished old ones, or finished ones that I'm currently reading. And so it's turned into avoiding series altogether, whether I've started them or not. So that's quite disappointing on my part. But Enchantra was so good. We followed Genevieve, the sister of Ophelia, who was the first book in Phantasma. We followed Genevieve through the Enchantra house, the Enchantra Wicked Game. I can't actually even remember her love interest's name. Either way, I do remember the book being incredible, and I am very excited for the 3rd and final instalment of the Wicked Game series. Question number 4. New release you want to read but haven't yet. Let's just bring this pile down. I'm a fiend for buying new books and not reading them because I'm either still reading something or I buy a new book and then I go, oh, but I really should get through my like old books on my TBR. So that's why we have this pile. Now, I have other books that are new, but these are the new releases that I want to get to immediately but haven't yet. So we have Scythe and Sparrow by Brim Reaver. This came out, I believe, this February. Don't know, but I know it came out this year. This is the 3rd instalment of the Ruinous Love trilogy by Brim Weaver, and this is following the 3rd Kane brother, Fionn. Love the first 2, can't wait for that one. Now we've got Problematic Summer Romance by Ellie Hazelwood. This literally came out 2 or 3 weeks ago, if that, and this is the sequel to Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. Is this Eli's sister? Yes, yeah. So Problematic Summer Romance is about Maya Kilgore, who is the younger sister to Eli Kilgore from Not in Love. So it's kind of like a sequel, but it's also a standalone, so it's fine. They're like interconnected. Yeah, obviously want to get to that because Ali Hazelwood, thank you for giving us the sequel and the characters we wanted. Next up is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I loved Out of the Books. Mixed Signals, you can't even see it, I'm looking up. They're right at the top of my shelf. I've got Mixed Signals. Anyway, loved the Love Light Farm series, and so I literally have the receipt still in this one. When did this come out is the question. Just this year. Yeah, no, I need to get to this. I do love a bit of B.K. Borison. Her writing just flows straight off the page and straight through my brain. Shock, shock, shock. Still haven't read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I think it's because I'm incredibly apprehensive because somebody told me that this is very much out of her comfort zone of her usual romances. Obviously, I've never read Bride and I will never read Mate, but this kind of lulled me into a false sense of security, but I want to read it so badly. This also came out this year. And lastly, of the physical books I have right here, we have The Crash by Frida McFadden. I bought this 2 days ago. I have so far only read 3 of her books. I'm a bit picky about thrillers. I mean, I literally have The Teacher and The Housemaid here. I've not even read those yet either, so. But yeah, The Crash by Frida McFadden. I mean, who doesn't want to read it? Frida McFadden is just bloody incredible, and I literally can't put into words how easy, lovable, quick, thrilling her books are. So those are the physical books that were released this year that I would like to read by the end of the year. Now, in terms of physical books that I don't have with me, I really want to read Fearless. And you're probably thinking, like, Jess, that's been out ages. Like, come on, girl. If you want to finish those series, read Fearless. Yeah, well, I have this thing where if I have all of the other books in paperback or all of the other books in hardback and something new comes out, like, I have to get it to match. And Fearless isn't out in paperback yet, and I'm not spending the same amount of money that I'm about to spend on the paperback when it comes out on the Kindle version. That's just the way it is. So Fearless, I really want to read Fearless. Question 5. Most anticipated release for the second half of this year. I have 2, actually. 2, and they're completely very different books. My first one is The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osmond. Now, if I move these out the way, this is the Thursday Murder Club series. This is also the Thursday Murder Club series. I have them in hardback and I have them in paperback. I need that 5th book today. Thank you, please. I need it today. I absolutely adore this series. This has got to be the best cozy mystery series I have ever read in my life. My mum adores them too, and Richard Osmond is also the author of his new cozy mystery series We Solve Murders, which I've yet to read, and I'm not gonna lie, I bought the book and then I gave my mum the book, and look what she's done. She's creased the spine, and she's my mother, I can't say anything, but she's creased the spine. And you're probably thinking, Jess, like 3 of the 4 books you have here are creased. That is because I bought them creased. They were from the charity shop. This is the only one that I bought new. But anyway, that is my anticipated release, is the 5th, and I think final instalment of the Thursday Murder Club, because if you didn't know, they're actually releasing a movie on Netflix that goes in line with the first Thursday Murder Club book called The Thursday Murder Club. Very excited. Okay, and the next one is Road Trip with My Vampire by Jenna Levine. The first ever Jenna Levine book I read was My Roommate's a Vampire, and then she came out with this gorgeous book called My Vampire Plus One. I remember now, because I got the first one on Kindle and it was really cool. And then now they're bringing out Road Trip with My Vampire. The first 2 are intercollected standalones, so the vampires in the books are from the same like community or like friends or something. So I'm really interested to see I know who the 3rd one's about, I think. Oh, I don't know actually. Either way, mega excited for it. The dogs have escaped their cage. No. I knew it was you cheeky muck. Are you coming up here? This is Houdini. We keep calling her Houdini because she keeps breaking out of her cage somehow. Don't you? So, The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman is actually coming out 25th of September 2025. I can't tell you how excited I am for that. Okay, and Road Trip with a Vampire is also coming out the 23rd of September 2025. Okay, September's going to be a great month. Very excited. Chapter 6 is Biggest Surprise Read, I have two. My actual biggest surprise read this year so far, I want to say, was Good Bad Girl. Now, I spent this much of the book putting the puzzle together with about 7 different puzzles. They weren't all from the same puzzle. And then this was like I'd just jammed them all together, painted over, and then put the same picture on top so it looked like I'd put it together. Does that make sense? Like, I'm really quite confused because as much as I loved this book, I absolutely hated it at the start. Like, I couldn't figure it out. But by the end of it, I thought, oh my goodness, Alice Feeney, you are a genius. This was the biggest surprise because I think I was DNF worthy for about 40%. And then all of a sudden I couldn't put the damn thing down. And this solidified, because I have Daisy Darkus somewhere on here, this solidified my need to continue reading Alice Feeney's thrillers and to just trust the process. I have to trust the process. Question 7 is, favourite author, debut, or new to you? I've got 2 for this one. We have Lila Sage. She is new to me. I read Done and Dusted this year in literally a day and a half. Flew through it. Now, wasn't a massive fan of the Insta love, but didn't mind the fact that they already knew each other. That kind of helped a little bit. I also own Lost and Lassoed and Wild and Wrangled because I can't get my hands on Swift and Saddled anywhere, and I think it's going to have to be an Amazon deal. But anyway, Lila Sage, I kind of knew I was going to enjoy her books anyway because a lot of people who like the same books as me had recommended them, and so I was always looking forward to reading them. But then actually getting the books and reading the first one made me realise how much I had underestimated the series for literally 6 or 7 months because that's when I first heard about it and I'd been putting it off. So that's my new to me, is Lila Sage. Now, my favourite author, I think hands down, has to be Richard Osman. It was a tough one between Emily Henry, Richard Osman, and actually Tim Sullivan, because his thrillers are great. Having put more thought into it about how the books make me feel, yeah, it's got to be Richard Osman. Absolutely has to be. The coziness of his thrillers, the whodunit, the mystery, the actual thriller part, and the red herrings and like the way we get to the story. Does that make sense? It's got to make sense, surely. Question 8. Newest fictional crush. My answer's kind of the same as last year. I don't do fictional crushes. But you know who I admire this year? Is Xaden Rierson. I feel it needs no explanation, but I'll give you one anyway. Xaden Rierson is a man of his word. Xaden Rierson cares about his friends and family. Xaden Rierson has a really, really cool signet. So those are all my points, and I don't need to go any further. Question 9, a book that made me cry. This immediately is Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Shirley. I read this in a recent vlog, which I shall add a card up here somewhere. Not for anything bad. I don't read sad books and I avoid them completely on purpose because I am not in a space to read them. But I am totally okay to have a good old happy cry at a book like Fake Dates and Mooncakes, where the kind of Chinese, Singaporean, family-focused cultural aspect of the book hit me hard. And I loved every second of it. Go watch the video to see what I'm talking about. Question 10, a book that made me happy. Once again, I have 2 for these. The first one is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, which is chilling over here. I absolutely loved the way that Nora came out of her shell, realised that she had so much more going for her than she realised, and that it's not just cliche, not everything has to be cliche. And I love that Charlie's kind of come out of his shell and realised that, like, he doesn't have to do everything for his parents. Like, they are capable, they just want him to be loved and like excel at what he does and love what he does. And I just was a really like happy-go-lucky book. And the second book that I loved, it's actually fallen off the shelf, was Beg, Borrow or Steal by Sarah Adams. I couldn't have been happier when this came out as the sequel to Practice Makes Perfect and to When in Rome. Adored those, absolutely adored those. Now, this has a little bit of a trigger warning about like narcissistic tendencies and like familial manipulation and abuse and things. If we are appreciating that but not focusing on it, I think what I loved about this story is that Emily Walker realises that she doesn't have to be a teacher for the rest of her life. She can do whatever she likes, and she can do the one thing that she's incredibly good at, which is writing a book. Now, Jack Bennett, already incredibly great at what he does, and he's a teacher. And I love the kind of miscommunication in this. Now, it's not miscommunication, it's like misrepresentation representation. I can't remember what I was saying with this book. Stop licking my arm. I just remember getting to the end of this book feeling incredibly giggly, incredibly happy, and just very content with the ending of this. So this is the second book that made me very happy this year. Okay, question 11 is the most beautiful book I've bought this year. Easy. Easy. It is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. It is the Last Hours book 1 in the Shadowhunters series. Oh my goodness, still the receipt in there. When did I buy this one? This is why I leave the receipts in, because I think it's hilarious to see when I bought them. I got student discount, that's good. The 10th of March 2025. This obviously didn't come out this year. This is an old book, but I haven't gotten there yet. This came out, Oh, this edition was published in 2021. Okay, fair enough. Either way, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Have a look. It is a woman standing there in a lovely ball gown by some iron gates with this gorgeous auburn copper red hair and leaves. And I just think the colour scheme of the book, along with the fact that it wraps all the way around, I love it. This is now nearly one of my favourite books on the shelf, and I don't care what anybody else says. But that is the most beautiful book I've bought this year, 100%. Question 12, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? I have my list. Are we ready? So, following on from the last question, I need to read and I need to finish the entirety of the Cassandra Clare series. I need to do it. I have too many series going. I have the Last Hours and I have the Dark Artifices sections left. That is 6 books in total. Then I am pretty much done. I have Chain of Iron and I have Lady Midnight up there. Then I need to purchase the other ones. Okay, then we have all of the Ali Hazelwood universe books. So Deep End, Problematic Summer Romance. I kind of just want to read Bride and Mate just to see. I doubt I'll like them. I really doubt I will. But then who am I to judge whether or not Ali Hazelwood writes a good werewolf romance? Vampire romance. Okay, and then the Prison Healer series. I actually don't know what it's called, but I have read the first in the Prison Healer series, and that is called The Prison Healer. I still need to read Gilded Cage and The Blood Traitor, I believe they're called. Yeah, okay, yeah, The Gilded Cage and The Blood Traitor, and these are by Lynette Noni. Now, I remember reading this late last year, adored it, couldn't put it down, absolutely loved it. I gave this a 5 stars, sorry, and it was one of those series that I was like, oh god, if I don't finish this now, I'm going to be thinking about it for the rest of my life. And I didn't have the money to buy it on my Kindle, nor did I have the money to buy it in person. So like, I had the 3rd book because it was 99p, but I didn't have the Gilded Cage. So now we are here in June and I haven't read the Gilded Cage or the Blood Traitor. So I need to finish those this year. I need to, because they were the easiest books to read ever, and they were so good. Lynette Noni, they were bloody incredible. Next up is the rest of the Rebel Blue Ranch series, Lila Sage. Just like I said earlier, had me absolutely hooked, and these are manageable sized books, and there's only 4 left. Swift and Saddle, Blossom Lassoed, Wild and Wrangled. There's only 3 left, so that's like, I don't know, 800 pages max. Done. I've got to finish it. It was so good. And lastly, you'll all laugh at this, I need to finish I actually still can't believe I have this. This is a joke. I still have not read Ruthless Vows. This is the Letters of Enchantment series. This is the second one, as it's a duology. I'm actually quite fuming with myself, to be honest with you, because I read Divine Rivals. I finished it New Year's 2023, so moving into 2024. I finished it like 10 minutes before we went into 2024. And this book is literally 417 pages. That is so beyond manageable, and I just haven't picked it up. And I keep telling myself recently, like, I really want to read a hardback. There's just something about sitting and holding and reading a hardback that makes you feel like you're actually reading. And they smell so good. And I've got the like gorgeous burgundy editions of the books. So yeah, need to read that ASAP. And then, last but not least, another one I've had on my TBR for ages is The Institute by Stephen King. Now, Ben tried to start reading this, couldn't get on with it. The only reason I want to read this is because the concept is really cool, and it's, I believe either Stranger Things was inspired by this book, I believe. I read Stephen King's fairy tale, which is down here, a couple of years ago, and adored it. It did take me a while, but I loved that I had so much focus on the book. And Stephen King's writing is really cool, and I've not read another of his books. Ben has another Stephen King book somewhere, but I actually have a feeling he's lost it. We have The Misery somewhere, and I think he's lost it, to be honest with you, but hey ho. So that's my final book that I need to finish by the end of the year. Question 13 is, how many 5-star books have I read this year? I have read 4. That is 3, Jess. I have read 4 5-star books this year, and they were... Okay, they were Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, Nightbane by Alex Aster, Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and Begborough or Steel by Sarah Adams. They were my 4 5-star reads this year. Question 14. What books do I want to reread this year? Oh gosh. This is a really tricky one because last year I reread The Cruel Prince and I regretted it incredibly much. It ruined the book for me. And so I have decided that unless I am 150,000% on my feelings of the book, I won't be rereading anything. But I have got a pick for you. If I were to reread anything, it would be Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Now, I would get it down for you, but she's all the way at the top of my shelf and Pride of Place with some of my favourite romance books. Hence the reason I would reread. Especially after reading One Last Stop recently. It just kind of solidified the fact that I really do enjoy Casey McQuiston's writing, and I think the Red, White and Royal Blue love story is absolutely fantastic. It is so incredibly good. Question 15. A book I enjoyed with mixed reviews. Now this one's quite funny because I could say I enjoyed it, but I could also say that I didn't enjoy it, but it's the only book that has mixed reviews that I've read, and that is The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake. This is the 3rd in the Atlas 6 trilogy, and I've said this many times before, this much of the book was completely unnecessary. The actual story, start to finish, overall bigger picture story in my head, I think was great. Was so great. This is all we needed. She could have told us it all in that. That is why it's got mixed reviews, along with the fact that Olivia Blake has managed to insert some of her own political views into the book. Now, I'm all for standing up for what you believe in, yeah? Absolutely. But do not put it into a book that will be sold worldwide. When you have the influence she does, I just think it's inappropriate, especially in a book. Write a manifesto, do a campaign. I don't care. Don't put it in a book I'm going to read in the UK because I physically can't do anything with that information you're giving me. Does that make sense? I can't be the only one thinking that. Anyway, last question. Last but not least, what are my 5-star predictions for the rest of the year? Road Trip with a Vampire, I think is going to be 5 stars. I think The Crash by Frida McFadden is going to be 5 stars. I think These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan is going to be 5 stars. I believe Iron Flame is going to be 5 stars. I also believe The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osmond is going to be 5 stars. There's got to be more. I know there's more. I also think The Maid's Secret by Nita Prose is going to be 5 stars. That came out earlier this year. I think Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross is going to be 5 stars. I also believe, potentially, that Till Death by Buseo Mutaluko is going to be 5 stars. I have so many books I think are going to be 5 stars, possibly including Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver and Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. But as we all know, my rating predictions are rarely right. So I'm not putting any pressure on anything I read for the rest of the year. I have put myself into such big slumps this year purely because I have doused myself in pressure for reading and I don't want to do it anymore. I am going to read whatever I like, whenever I like, for however long I like, and I'm just going to share it with you. And I hope that you can stick around and enjoy that with me. That was this year's mid-year book freakout tag. I loved it. I loved it. We're a slightly different environment than last year, with quite a few more books than last year, actually. Quite a few more books. But that's totally okay, because we're growing, we're reading, we're trying. I am so thankful that you guys have joined me today. If you guys want to answer any of these questions down below, copy and paste them from the description. All or none, or some, up to you. Pop them in the comments and we can chat about it. I love speaking to you in the comments. Thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, for spending your time with me here today watching this video. I shall see you next week. If you continue to lick my leg instead of your arm, you will be getting down. Do you understand? That I've had this 10th March. Hang on, my dog's chewing something she shouldn't.